You know, it is somewhat true that he does kind of sound like a girl. A buddy of mine actually told me that he was a girl the first time I heard him, and I was like, wow, that's really hot. Only to later tell me that he was a boy.
Place it, place it, place it, place it, place it, place it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. I am Gabriel Fast, and I am the wannabe critic. Today, we're talking about Sleeping with Sirens. We're talking about Sleeping with Sirens' new album, how it feels to be lost. I just got done listening to it today, giving it an actual listen on my trusty AirPods. I did actually give the album a full listen on my headphones, which is usually how I judge music the first time I listen to it. I will be listening to this again. I had heard the singles that had come out within the previous weeks. I did enjoy what I heard in those singles. I really did enjoy this album, so we're going to get into that a little bit more. As always, if you can, it really helps me out if you like this video, comment, subscribe on it, do everything, hit the bell. That'll alert you whenever I make a new video. You're more than welcome to tell me I'm being an idiot whenever I give these reviews. But just remember, I'm a younger type of person. I'm claiming that I am a wannabe critic, and I'm just giving my opinions on what I thought of the album. We have a little history lesson with each video that I like to post. For those of you who don't know, Sleeping with Sirens have really been an active band for the past 10 or so years. I think they really started to come on the scene around 2010 with their album With Ears to See and Eyes to Hear. Had the famous song, If I'm James Dean, Then You're Audrey Hepburn. Easily most recognizable song by the band, in my opinion. This is their 5th full-length LP to date, and man, what a journey this band has been through. You have a band who really got their start kind of on the Warped Tour scene, playing rock music to teenagers with metalcore influences in that. And I really think there's a lot of confusion as to what type of band Sleeping with Sirens is and what type of band they're going to end up being in the years moving forward, because the last few albums they've put out have been a little confusing as to what type of genre they're trying to be. I didn't necessarily care for those albums whenever they came out. I did listen to them. I do not remember them. I just remember being kind of meh. I'm an early on Sleeping with Sirens fan. I think With Ears to See and Eyes to Hear is a really, really good album. And it really showcases the band at that time's diversity. I do think there has been some lineup changes ever since then. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this new album, let's get into it. How It Feels to Be Lost, at its core, is a rock album. It's a rock album that really has a lot of pop-ish roots. I wouldn't even really identify it as being pop rock, but I do think they are kind of going for an alt-rock type thing, maybe even trying to incorporate things off of the last few albums that they put out to find what we have now, which is a really solid, well-produced rock album. Listening to it the first time, it really kind of reminded me of Breaking Benjamin with its musicality and the way it sounds. There's not a lot of breakdowns in the album, but that's okay, because there's other people that are doing plenty of breakdowns, and while those types of songs do have a lot of heart, this album doesn't really need that. This album has plenty of heart on its own. And if you are a fan of rock music, if you're a fan of talent, I really think that you would like this album, especially if you like rock music. Getting used to Kellen Quinn's voice is kind of a challenge because he does have such a different type of voice. And you can definitely tell that he has done the more shrill, hardcore type of music in the past. There aren't a ton of tracks on this album that are particularly memorable. I think it's pretty common nowadays for an album to have a few key tracks. I only picked one key track off of this album that I thought really stood out to me and really made me feel something. I do think the band is trying to give us a message of, hey, we make the music that we like to make. We don't really care what you think, which is total like punk rock, you know? The album is a really good time. It's full of heart. My favorite song off the album is the title. It's Ghost. It's towards the beginning of the record. I think it's 4 or 5 songs in. And really, nowadays, with your generic rock music and things like that, with rock music today, you want people to find something in your song that's somewhat familiar, but add a piece of yourself in there to where it's interesting to listen to and really shows that you're different than every other band that's out there. I don't think that this is a perfect album by any means. There's plenty of songs that are, I don't want to say throwaway because that's mean, but I mean, I would say half of this record is very, very impressive, whereas the rest of it is just kind of okay. So I'm going to give this album a 7.5. I do think it's better than a lot of the music Sleeping with Sirens has put out in the past few years. I would not have given 7.5 to the past two albums. No way. Each time I've started up those albums, it's like either I finish it or I get halfway through it and I'm just kind of like, why did I just do that? But this album did not leave a bad taste in my mouth. This album has a lot of repeat value, which I think speaks volumes to the amount of rock music that there is out there today that doesn't have that. So I'm glad you prepared yourself for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. I am Gabriel Fast, and I will always be the wannabe critic.